our channel, Loving Handcrafts by BMW. So today, I'm going to be bringing you this Easter project that I've already started. So this is Brenda. I'm here solo today in the studio, by the way. So I am going to be doing something fairly new. I've made this card off screen before. And I wanted to bring it to the screen. I was inspired by watching, I can't remember whose video, but I will put a link to her video. You know, as you get inspired and you look at things on YouTube, I was inspired by another content creator and card maker, so I just wanted to bring my spin to this card. And I usually do a lot of my cards in Design Space, so I have using my Cricut to cut most of it, if not all of it. So let's begin. I've broken this project into a couple of what I call bases and panels, just to kind of keep it oriented in my head straight. So I'm going to start off with the base, which is basically your A2 size card panel, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which I have it highlighted. So when you're making this in Cricut Design Space, you have to do the width and then the height. So basically it's kind of a landscape, not portrait. So all you do is you click on your shapes and you bring in a square. Pretty straightforward. Then you take your square and then you're going to unlock the proportions. And then when you unlock the proportions, it'll allow you to size it like you want it. So 5.5 is the width at this point, and then the height is going to be 4.25. So 5 1/2 by, and then I'm going to lock that up by 4 1/4. And I'm going to change the color under operations. I'm going to change that to white. And then as you're wanting to, you can choose. So if depending on what Cricut machine that you have. So if you were cutting this out on your Joy or your Joy Extra, you don't have a score mechanism to score easily. You can score it, but it's not easy. Or if you have your Cricut Maker 3, then you can add a score line and it'll score it for you. So if you were going to do that, you would go back to shapes and you would grab your line. And I don't know where it went to. Where'd it go? Where did the line go? Oh, it's one of these. Okay, here we go. So if that's your line and you know that your height is 4 1/4, so I would just change this here under size to 4.25 and call it a day. And then if you want this to be together, you're going to have to attach it. So before I do that, I've got both of them highlighted. I'm going to go up to the top to the ribbon and to the line, and I'm going to make sure it's in the center and then attach. So that'll tell the system to cut this out and then keep this score line in the center with this together. So that's your card base. Then your next thing panel is basically the same. You're going to do the same operation. Let me move that to the front. So I right clicked on my mouse, move that to the front. And then you're going to actually do the same thing. You can pretty much duplicate this. So if you're here and you duplicate it, then you know your size. So my size is 5 1/4 by 4. So I would just take this 5 1/4 by 4. Let me make sure I unlock that by 4. And lock it back. There we go. Boom. So that would be your so this is the base behind it, and then I will And then that would be your panel 1. And then your panel 2 is basically the same. This panel is what I'm referencing. So you could actually duplicate this now. So let's duplicate it. While I've got it highlighted, I think I'll just go ahead and change that color real quick so you can see the difference. And I'll just make it yellow. So what you could do is detach, let's make sure, detach this line, because we're going to need a score line, right? So I might as well keep one. I've already done it. I'm going to duplicate it because I need 2 score lines because this is going to fold back on itself. So I'm going to need 2 of those. So now what I want to do is change this. Let me make sure I'm doing this one right. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, 5 by 3 1/4. Okay, so this yellow panel now becomes 5 by 3 1/4. Okay, perfect. Now I can take these 2. Let me just delete one because I'm going to just do one and then I'm going to duplicate it. Then I can make this 3 1/4. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, so you're wondering to yourself, well, how do you get those lined up? These 2 score lines. So I'm going to move this out the way. I'm going to move this down. I'm going to take my yellow panel and I'm going to stick it right up in the corner, right there. So what I'm looking for is to make sure that my position is at 0 on the Y and X axis. So they're both at 0. So this, I'm going to grab this and bring it over. And so I know it's going to be scored at 1/2 inch here. So you can see your position. So you can actually take this and make this a 1/2 inch point. Oops. Come on. Actually, it's almost there. Let's see. 0.05. Okay, there it goes. Now that's one. Then you can kind of do the same thing over here because we know this is a 1/2 inch. So what you could do is let's take this and attach it. I've never tried this, so I just thought about it. Attach it. Blah, blah, ah. Sorry about that. Blah, blah, blah. Is that the one? Nope, this is the one. And this is the one. Okay, attach. Now let me take this and then let me just flip. Whoop. Come on now, flip. There we go. So I just flipped it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to take it over here. Pretty much in the right spot. But pretty close. Pretty darn near close by eyeballing it. Okay. There you go. And since that score is on the line, let me see. There we go. Now they're both attached. So kind of what you would do on a physical flip scoreboard, you'd basically put it on the floor scoreboard, the physical one, and then do your score, turn your project around, your material, and score it again. So that's basically what I did. Not sure why this is yellow. Let me detach everything. recall making that yellow, but let's just make that another color. So we'll stay in the, make that green. Primary colors. And then I will take these and move them here because they're grouped together. And then I will reattach. Okay, there we go. Then that's one. Okay, so let's do the little bandy band. So pretty much, and then we'll come back and talk about the print then cut feature. So pretty much it's a shape again. We'll just grab a new shape. This is 1 by 6, so I will just do that. Six, I think height 1. Inch. There we go. And that's how you do that. And then I'm going to do a darker green. And I'm going to stick this back up in the corner and make sure it's up in the position 1. So I'm going to go to more and make sure that it's on that. Make sure both of these are at 0. Well, I don't really know what I did. Okay, there we go. There it is. And then this is scored at a quarter. So I would do the same thing. So let's just play it all out. Let's go grab a line. I'm going to highlight the line. Let me collapse that. We know this is 1 inch. And then I am going to take the position and then just change that to 0.25 on the the x-axis. Just make sure it goes to 0. Thought I entered 0. Well, la-di-da, doesn't lie. Okay, you stinker. Well, let's do this then. It's not cooperating. Let's make sure. So back to more. Okie dokie. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. So I got that in there. So I'm going to highlight them both and attach. Then I am going to flip it. There we go. And while I have it flipped, I'm going to go back to my layers panel. I'm going to grab that line. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to go ahead and get it as where I think it should be. And then I'm going to check my position. Darn near close. And there we go. And then on my layers panel, I'm just going to move that score line there. And then it's already attached. And there we go. That's how you do all of that. So now I've basically made this and showed you how to do all the major components. So the only thing that's left is this. This is I still want to say that's wrong. Those dimensions look off. But oh well. Let me look. Make sure. Because it looks weird to me and I don't know why. Checking my little notebook. One moment. So as I make things again, I keep a little notebook like a journal so I can refer to things because of moments like this, senior moments. Yeah, that's supposed to be 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Yeah, that looks wrong. Let's see. Okay, there we go. That looks better. Okay, there we go. That looks weird. It still looks weird. I don't know. Okay, I probably had to make it fit, so it looks weird. Okay, let me undo it. And probably how I had it look worked for what I was using. Yeah, it's weird. It's probably what I brought in. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. Knowing that this is supposed to be 3 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, but we're going to let this roll for this particular presentation. Okay, so you can decide for your focal point. So you don't have to do what I did. You can ink blend this part. You can emboss this part. You can stamp this part. You can you can do whatever you want because this is your focal point. This is your card. But I didn't have I looked through my stash. I didn't have anything I really liked for this, and I really like the print then cut. I like what it brings to the project. So for me, I am going to be always probably doing something with the print then cut feature for this. So you don't have to do that. The presenter that I looked at, she did some stamping with some ink, some coloring. She did some coloring, and she did some stamping. I chose not to go that route. This makes it a little bit quicker. And but you know, if you wanted to kick out a card real quick, the hardest part was choosing colors. And also for this area, this is open for you to stamp. I'm going to do something different since I already have Happy Easter here, and I don't have to stamp anything here. What I did was to get this image, I just put in, you know, anything Easter from Creative Fabrica. Creative Fabrica, yeah. And then I just pulled up any image that I liked, and I just ran through whatever. For that panel, that's the second, the panel 1, the larger panel, you could do like a digital background. You can use some digital paper. You can do whatever you want. It again is your project. So you can troll through whatever images you have to add it there. I picked this one. So this is what I'm using. Okay. So let me take you to my work surface. I'll be right back while I get everything ready on my work surface. Okay. So here's the card that I made. This is my prototype. So basically the card folds flat, so it'll slide into the envelope this way. And then when you give it to the presenter, it pops out. So this is me playing with some digital paper. I didn't really like the I like the white. I like the white space. I didn't necessarily like the background colors. I like the blue. And so what I did for this one is I used some digital paper that I had. I don't know if you can see it, but I embossed it. And then I embossed it with this here. And then, yeah. So let me show you what I'm planning on doing with this one. So that's my inspiration. Okay, here we go. So here's my idea. I got my little mini scoreboard just in case I need it. This is the embossing folder from Spellbinders. It's from 2024 February. So I'm going to use this to emboss this, just to give it, since I'm not stamping on it or doing anything particular, so I'm going to emboss this. For my card bases, I use some white, thick, pretty thick cardstock. For this panel, I raided my stash I found this Easter paper pack from Echo Park. So I used that to cut this out. And again, I used it on my Cricut. You don't have to use your Cricut. You could go ahead and cut this. I did this on my Cricut. So this is 110 cardstock. Is not as thick as this cardstock. And I just picked the color from this butterfly to have my and use this as a print then cut, because I don't have this color in my stash, or I was too lazy to find it. So here I printed that out, and that's my nice element. And then this is my card base. Okay. Yeah, can't see. So let me go and do some embossing, and I might emboss this to match this, which is what I'm thinking I was going to do. So it's probably what I would do, and when I'll have this embossed, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm back. I decided not to emboss this one, just to emboss this. Let's just say off camera, when I embossed it didn't turn out right. It was a little bit too much. So I decided to recut them and not emboss this one. But I did emboss this one, so you can see the detail that you get here. So while I was off camera, I went ahead and folded everything so you wouldn't see me struggle through that. So basically, these are the valley folds. So both of these are folded like that. And then these two are the mountain folds. So they're going to fold up. And then they're all scored down the center. So let's put this card together. Comes together really fast. And the reason I chose not to emboss this, because when I tried it and I went to adhere it to the base, it did not stick well. It was just too much trouble, in all honesty. And this was a 3D embossing folder to get this on here, and then to actually get it to crease and fold correctly. So the idea is you're going to line up these folds, these scored marks, and you're going to make sure that you get this as centered as possible. That's the key to this bendy card, is making sure that you line up your score lines on both layers. So that's the first layer. Then this is scored in here, so I scored that and folded that back. And then I have a line here. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this and line up these two. So let's do that. Yeah, it was a pain in the butt to go back and recut this, basically. But, you know, the beauty of video magic. Alright, so now I've got kind of like a guide, so I'm going to try to be careful with this and get those to line up on top of each other, and then try to get that centered as best I can. Now if it's not perfect, it's okay, but you want to make sure you get those lined up, which I did do. Beautiful. So see, it's going to line up. Let's get that down in by each other. You can do that if you want. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now you can go ahead and, again, the idea being is to take this and line up all of these when you glue it down. Oh, that's smart. So now I'm just going to flip these tabs back, put some glue, sawtooth, sawtooth, sawtooth. The card comes together really, really quick. It's really a fun card. It's a really, really fun card to do. So, let me get a little, I'm just going to eyeball it. Then get it centered as best I can, like that. Pop that up. So that's how it's going to look. Get down in there. Now, for this band, if you didn't, if you wanted to, if you didn't have it, if whatever you choose is your focal point here. So whatever you have here, let's say you wanted to add a sub-sentiment or something along the strip, then you can do that as well. So I'm going to put this down on my thing, and I want it to kind of go like that. So, whoops. It's a really pretty card. I really love this Bendy Fun Fold card. I really love it. I got some birthday cards to make, so I think I'm going to use this one. This format. Okay, so I'm going to make, whoop, everything's dropping. I'm going to make sure I have that straight. Let me pick it up. I'm going to make sure I have it down and make sure it's kind of straight. So I'm putting it down on my work surface, and then I'm folding that in, and then I'm going to make sure that it's even. So I wanted it down on the work surface. And then I'll take my finger and gently make good contact right there. My finger. And if you wanted to, you can kind of use this. Okay, that's the card. I know you can't really see it, but that's the card. And then this should pop out. So if I pop that out, so now you got that little band at the bottom. And it is quite lovely. I think it looks darling. Absolutely gorgeous. So, if you like this, please subscribe, comment, and like, and help us reach our goal. And before I sign off, you can actually do something on the back where you could put your personal sentiment, but I think that's adorable. Me and Willie are trying to get to 400 by the end of the year. So go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment so that we can get to 300 by June and then another 100 by the end of the year. And that'll be our goal. It's a modest goal, but every little like, subscribe helps our channel grow. And I realize you have multiple choices and multiple ways of spending your time, your most valuable time. But I appreciate that you're with us. So take care, and I will talk to you soon.